Greg O'Connor is at Riccarton. Greg, good morning to you. What conditions present this morning to your eye?
Beautiful conditions here. Autumn can do this here in Canterbury. Last week, of course, we raced on a heavy 10. What I'd say about that is the difference between a heavy 10 in autumn, April, as opposed to, say, a Grand National heavy 10 is quite significant. There were horses winning last week, Jason, that traditionally wouldn't have handled a heavy 10 track. So we've had some rain during the week, and I was surprised, as I'm sure you probably were, that it has been upgraded to a dead 6, but I can tell you that's exactly what it is. Been round, had a walk around, spoken to the steward, spoken to David Walsh, who of course would know plenty about the track, and he tells me it's definitely right there on dead 6. So that's what the track has come up today, so expect them not to get as wide, I would think, as they did last week, and there's plenty of form to thumb our way through from last week that it's hard to say where it's going to stack up. We'll find out after a couple of races, I'm picking.
Yeah, certainly. It'll be a watching brief for the first two races and getting a little bit of a read there. Where they come, as you mentioned, will be interesting. Will it be as wide as last week or not? We'll start with race number 5 and Ngawe, who was so impressive over 1,400 metres in a freshened state following a good trial. $3.20, $6 for Reyes, also $6 Pin-Up Cope, and second favourite is 10 The Sparkle. Thad Taylor, what can you tell us about any action on this race?
You're probably up 2.5 kilograms here in Ngawe after that win last start. Has to lug the 61 with Lisa Allpress aboard. Just been a little bit of standoffishness in the marketplace around here in Ngawe. Out to $3.20 now from an opening quote of $3. Look, Reyes is having its first start down there at Riccarton. Over 1,600 metres, it's interesting, but there is a good sprinkling for Reyes. Quite a talented performer in the CD there for John O'Benner and Holly Wynyard. Reyes, so at $6, there's some interest. Willing to forgive Neeson as well at $10. Led them up over 1,800 on a heavy track last time. Back to a mile, gets a dead 6, could lead them a merry chase, and they're willing to take a bit of a punt around Neeson out there at $10 as well. And a bit of money for some outsiders. There's always money for Teddy Twinkletoes. The Parsons have welcome in the race at $13, a sprinkling there. So to be honest, it's the top 3 favourites in the race. They're a little bit cold. Here in Ngawe, The Sparkle and Pin-Up Cope, Jason.
Okay, that's interesting indeed. Yeah, Shane Brown with Reyes and also La Turk in the first race. How about the speed map presented by formpro.co.nz and FormPro Ratings? Neeson and Ngawe do look like they will be contesting the speed. What will happen with the Sparkle, raw material, horses like that, Greg O'Connor? Is this sort of how you read it, with sort of inside, outside, Neeson, Ngawe?
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. Expect both of them to go forward as they did last week. Here in Ngawe was really strong. We'll have an opportunity to have a look at the way he kicked up the Riccarton straight and just kept on going. Yes, he has a rather large impost here today of 61 kilos, but he was so impressive here. He was there to be shot down. Lisa Allpress has an outstanding book of rides here today. That's why she's come up $1.50 favourite for the Jockeys Challenge. And he was strong. He's made it 3 from 8. A bit better track conditions today. I don't think it'll be a problem at all, as he's only had the one start on a dead track and was winning. Like I said, it was there to be shot down. Fire Lily had her chance, and he just showed he's big, he's raw, and he is going to go on with it for Isaac Lupton, of course, who owns, and Joanne Moss and Lisa Allpress, I'm sure will give you a great sight. He's top pick, but not by a huge margin. Just spoke to Shane Brown about Reyes. He said, look, both of my two, I would hope that it stayed in the slow range and therefore would give them a great chance. And saying that, they're here. He doesn't bring horses to Riccarton unless they're ready to race, and he believes both La Turk and Reyes will be very competitive today. Others with a chance in the race, Pin-Up Cope, but she's got me a few times. She actually finished 4th in the War Step last year, and the Sparkle has the ability to be in the finish too. But I'll be sticking with the top weight in this one.
Excellent races, the 6 over 1,200 metres, very competitive sprint race. It's the D. Reynolds Electrical Open Handicap. $4.40 for Disturbance, $6 Signify, $6.50 for Prince Oz and Kiwi Ida, $7 Johnny Jones, and he can fly at $8.50. But you've already discussed the amount of money on Disturbance there. Outside of that, has there been other action?
You can see the tote price of Prince Oz, Jason, and that's reflected in what we're seeing here. Look, he doesn't know how to run a bad race, Prince Oz. He's been freshened up after that run at Wingatui, where he was very good again. and obviously, competed in the Telegraph Handicap prior to that. Has been to the track and won at the distance. He is just a winner. Look, he's had 20 starts for 8 wins, and most of them have been in a row at his last sort of few starts. So Prince Oz, you would bet with some confidence around him, I would suggest. Look, Disturbance, they've got the money to reinvest. They certainly are. I would suggest this is his toughest test to date, but he's gone 3 in a row. Can't knock him. His supporters are in again. Punters finding it hard to catch Signify these days, Jason. He's got 3 kgs off with BB Hong there, down to 59. Makes him extremely competitive in our eye, but at this stage, not a lot of action around the $6. Johnny Jones, Kiwi Ida, and He Can Fly, all very, very quiet. Down the page there, Trudeau at $21. A little bit of interest around Trudeau. Obviously, last R72 winner. Steps to this level, but obviously a bit of a talent around Trudeau at 21s. People willing to take a bit of a bet there. But as I said, best lead Disturbance. But if you like Prince Oz, I would certainly be telling you to have $1 on him as well.
Track position all important, and this is the map. Morse code, Trudeau, He Can Fly, Johnny Jones. Some of the horses that might go forward. Look, again, I wouldn't expect that they'd be punching Morse code out. I could be wrong there, but she certainly seems better with some cover. Pippi Ray is drawn well. Prince Oz probably just behind them. Is this sort of how you saw it, Greg?
Sort of, although it's the toughest race of the day. I know we've got some stakes races to come, but this is an outstanding contest, as is reflected by the tote. You can't knock Disturbance. He's been flying since coming home, and he'll give you a great side again, but I don't think he'll just line up and win. Signify, very, very good here last week. Does go up a kilo on that performance. Here is Signify. This is when they were getting right to the outside. About this point, I wasn't absolutely convinced that he was going to be able to beat Gift of Power. Gift of Power in the green colours there, predominantly green colours we know so well, and Signify behind him, but once he ducked to the inside of Gift of Power, he really found the line. He's on the quick back up here. I'm not worried about that at all. BB Hong claims the 3, and he was very strong to the line. Big chance again, no doubt. But Disturbance on top. Prince Oz, winner of the Stewards, of course. His only run that's been here at Riccarton Park, and he's been freshened up for this, and you just know Neil Ridley will have him ready to go, so I'll give him a really good chance in this, and obviously Disturbance is on top, and Johnny Jones, who I know for sure Jason will appreciate the better track than he had last week, and he was still very brave in that. So yeah, terrific race. Find the one you like here. You're going to get great each way value.
The New Zealand Bloodstock War Step Stakes is over 2,000 metres for the fillies, and Secret Allure is $2.40, Beyond the Fort $3.50. Gee, I think you nailed the pricing of this market, Thad Taylor. They look clearly the 2 best chances. Have you managed to attract any money?
Look, just over the last couple of hours, Secret Allure has been the one of the 2 that has been the better backed, but I was saying to you before off air, Jason, it's a little bit like they've cancelled each other out, Beyond the Fort and Secret Allure. No one's quite sure what rein to pull here, and so no one wants to have a bet, and they're waiting for a lead into this market. Look, just over, as I say, over the last couple of hours, Secret Allure, she was so impressive last start, over a mile. Steps to 2,000, the track's going to be a little bit better than it was last time. And Beyond the Fort, so good, obviously 3 starts and to run second in an Oaks. Deserves to be right in the market, but Secret Allure better back. I've got some roughies here for you, Jason, for our customers that like to bet into trifectas and the like. Thunder Bay at $41 for Michael Pittman, Michael and Matthew, and the other one, 2 Furlax, 2 starts for 2/3 in maiden company, but they obviously have a bit of opinion about the Stephen Woodsford runner, 2 Furlax. But look, best lead is the one we saw last start, Secret Allure, in what we see as pretty much a 2-horse race.
Lisa Allpress very confident about her chances. Bill Thurlow very confident about the chances of Beyond the Fort. This is the Form Pro map. Doesn't look like a heck of a lot of pace. Mohaka wears the blinkers, or will be fitted with the blinkers today, and she does have tactical speed. Kilada, you'd reckon, would go forward. And outside of those, what are you thinking here, Greg? It doesn't look like it's going to be overly strongly run, this race.
No, I have to concur with you there, but Jason, the way Secret Allure won last week, we'll go back and have a look at that. 2 starts over the 2,000 metres, second in the Royal Stakes. She's a filly that's in wonderful form. Here's Emily Margaret rolling along in front, and piercing through the middle was Secret Allure. She rounded up Emily Margaret. The way she found the line, you would have to think that today should suit. Beyond the Fort drops back from the Oaks, and we'll have a look at that performance behind Sentimental Miss. She's clearly, the top of the book is where you need to be here. I found one at odds, Moussi d'Orsay. Blinkers go on today. Mike McCann, he's been telling me for a long time this race has been the race for her, and she gets her opportunity today. Krishna Madhu to do the riding. He knows her well, and I think she's the best roughie in the race. And Miss Valencia was very good in that very video we just showed there, running on for 5th, should be suited to the 2,000 metres. The better track will definitely aid her chances. Those latter two I've mentioned, look, they're probably not winning chances in the race, as we've had a look at Secret Allure. Now we're going to have a look at Beyond the Fort, finishing second. It's the best bet of the day for Jim Langham. It's a huge day, obviously, for Bill Thurlow. And you're quite right, at just her 3rd start to run second in an Oaks, and she really tried hard as well. So if she can reproduce that performance, then that's her to the inside, of course, of Sentimental Miss. Then she'll give you a great side in this as well. Dylan Turner riding with a black armband today to mark the passing of Dick Bothwell, and I'm sure he'll be very pleased to get the business done if he can with Beyond the Fort. But the top of the book is where you need to be in the war step of 2019.
Yeah, very sad to hear of the passing of Dick Bothwell, so as have many before me, passing on best wishes and condolences to the family and also close friends of the now late Dick Bothwell. Okay, the Coca-Cola Canterbury Gold Cup is the feature race on the card, and the big boppers. Group 1 winner Authentic Paddy will be looking to line up against Gallant Boy, Tommy Tucker, Who Dares Wins, who was so good last week, Gorbachev, Residential, Atlanta Peach, the money move. How difficult was it to frame this market, Thad Taylor, with a horse like Atlanta Peach in it, who was way out of her grade, but who was so dominant last start?
Yeah, it makes it tricky. I think the trickiest part of it is trying to find the price around Authentic Paddy. If you think you get $4 about a horse that ran 4th at Ellerslie at weight for age conditions behind Dance and Melody Bell, and then 3rd last time out in the main race, the weight for age there at Manawatu and behind Jack Star, and get $4 about that, only about 4 lengths off Melody Bell at Ellerslie. We know he tries hard, weight for age suits him. And to be honest, we haven't had much money for him, Jason. He's been 4 out to 420, so it is a tricky race. You mentioned the move there around Atlanta Peach. She was just so impressive on the eye last time. She does look like a real up-and-comer. Obviously only gets 2 kilograms off Authentic Paddy, so that is a little bit tricky, you would think, but certainly the money's there to suggest Atlanta Peach is a massive chance in the race. Who Dares Wins, great training effort first up there to get the money last time. They're in again on Who Dares Wins. It's a little bit like Disturbance, Who Dares Wins. I put it in the same boat, Jason. Just a horse that they love to back, and they got the chocolates last time. They think Who Dares Wins can go back to back in the race. No money for the White Robe winner, Gallant Boy, who comes out of the same race. Residential, very quiet. The Wellington Cup winner, particularly quiet. Gorbachev, I would tread very warily there. Maybe he needs a run. Bit of a sprinkling for Tommy Tucker. We know he never puts in a bad race, but yeah, I'd have to say best backed Atlanta Peach ahead of Who Dares Wins in the Easter Cup.
Yeah, interesting to note the lack of money around Gallant Boy, but speaking of Authentic Paddy, he's probably going to lead. It sounds like Lisa Allpress is wanting to ride Residential, similar to how she was ridden last week quietly, so I wouldn't think that she would be contesting the speed. She'll naturally be there from a good draw, but with cover. And Greg O'Connor, the positive, I suppose, for Authentic Paddy is this dead-rated track. I'm sure Connections would be happier with what presents as opposed to a slow track or worse.
Yeah, definitely. He won this race remarkably back in 2016, and he's only won one since, which was the Group 1 Zabeel, of course. But, gee, he was great in the Awapuni Gold Cup. Give us a terrific sight. Robbie Hannam loves this horse, has done right throughout his career, and I'm sure he'll give him every opportunity to take this out. And if he gets an uncontested lead, he'll take all sorts of running down. I thought Gorbachev could win it. If you go back through his form, okay, he won the Wellington Cup, yes. He ran 4th in the New Zealand Cup and won a great race in that. and it's a $100,000 race. There's no chance in the world Bryce Newman would have turned up here unless he believed he could win it, in my opinion anyway, and therefore I think he can. He's at great value. The Grand Campaigners, the Gallant Boys, the Authentic Paddies, the Tommy Tuckers, you've got to respect them, but they are starting to get to the back end of their career. Who Dares Wins is not, and he was great last time. He'll give you a very good sight again, and if he goes like he did last week, and Residential does as well, we're in for a terrific contest. But I reckon Gorbachev, at good odds, can upset them in this year's Coca-Cola Canterbury Gold Cup, but a lot of respect around Authentic Paddy and those that have been there and done it before. And Tommy Tucker, of course, won this race in 2017. So a terrific contest we have, Jason.
Yeah, certainly is. Okay, Greg, over the 9 races, what's your best and how would you spend your $100 today?
Right, I need to redeem myself here, and I'm going to do it in race number 1 with Alonso. Spoke to Michael Pittman, asked him for his best of the day. He said race number 1. So I'm happy to take a $25 stake to win on it, and $25 later on Gorbachev, and then I'm running a multi this way. Alonso into Trifolium, who was outstanding on debut, into Gorbachev. I was probably more thinking there Alonso for a place in the first, but we'll go all out and see how we end up there, and that's the way I'd be playing it anyway, Jason. But Alonso will get the punters off on the right note, has had no luck lately, and I think he can get the business done today. The best value, Frankie the Fox for me, the son of Ego, can take out race number 4.
Excellent. Thanks, Greg. We'll be with you building into race number 1 with Mark McNamara in the commentary box.